Elizabeth Warren needs to get on her legislation, because I love the rhetoric around her redlining when she came out. I appreciated it, but it just wasn't right. Then I like what she said about busting up monopolies. So it's not that I am opposed to her. I just know this isn't a fix. And it's being made to look like a fix. And that's a problem. That is a problem. And you also have to look at the fact that I think only about 20% of ADOS have degrees. So you're not fixing everybody. You're fixing it like 20% of us. Fixing 20% of ADOS does not fix us. You're fixing the people who have degrees. And you're not fixing them. You're just taking some of their debt off. You're taking 50 off. 50,000. If they don't reach that threshold. And so if an ADOS worker by chance reaches 100,000 as a lawyer or a businessman or whatever, then they don't get anything. But they're still descendants of slaves. They still don't really have any money. They still don't really have any wealth. They just have some income. But that gets erased in this class-based system. That's why everything has to be based on lineage, and it has to be based on wealth. It can't just be based on income, because the racial wealth gap is the best indication. It is the best indicator of where we are. And you're also fixing people who are most likely boomer hooked. Like you're not fixing the person who didn't get to go to college because they couldn't go, they weren't hooked to a boomer, and their parent didn't, or they had a single parent or whatever, and they lived like in the ghetto, and they weren't boomer hooked, they were poor. And so they didn't even, that opportunity wasn't even in their window. You're not fixing them at all. You're fixing somebody who may already have a leg up. That's why it's not racial politics. And that's why what we need at this stage is racial politics. And then what happens when I talk about whack-a-mole? Understand what I'm saying when I talk about whack-a-mole. I'm not trying to be funny, but race in America. So you say, well, say you pass this and 50,000 off. Well, everything else is still coming at you as an ADOS person. So you have this. Anti-black hiring discrimination is as prevalent today as it was in 1989. So you get a job, but you don't have, remember what we used to talk about all the time, plugs and outlets? Do y'all remember that? We used to talk all the time about plugs and outlets. When you talk about this anti-black hiring, nobody hiring ADOS. When you talk about that, understand that so the person goes to school, goes to college and university, and they come out with this plug, and there's nowhere to plug it into. So you have a plug, but you have nowhere to plug it into. You're a plug without an outlet. There is nothing good about having a plug with no outlet. So you have to fix, and there's no robust affirmative action plan that specifically, I'm not talking about no kind of affirmative action plan that gets everybody that catches every group except white men. That's garbage. I'm talking about, we don't have an affirmative action plan that catches us specifically as an ADOS group. Not immigrants or nobody else, just this group. Just this group. You don't have that. So you do this, and this great plan really helps white America. But you still don't have anywhere to plug it in. This anti-black hiring is still going to be there. And there is no government enforcement or mechanism to do anything about it. Nothing. And you may have, you may have a white person who whose parents didn't pay for all their college, but they still, or Asian person, it's not just, or Latino person whose parents, or Indian American, whose parents didn't pay for all their college, but grandma is going to leave them like $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000. So you don't even count that, what they're going to get. So they get a leg up, and all you get is like something to keep the flies off. You ever hear old people say that? Well, it'll keep the flies off me. That means you ain't dead today. So you get a little debt reduction if you went to school. If you were one of the 20 or so percent of ADOS who went to college, you get a little bit of debt reduction. And everybody else is still getting inheritance. Everybody else is still getting in-life transfers. Everybody else is still getting a job because that thing says specifically anti-black. Everybody else is still moving. They're made stronger. And we as a community are not. You cannot fix a race problem with raceless politics. I don't care how hard you try. I don't care how hard you push. I don't care what you do. And let's just go a little bit into this study. Anti-black hiring discrimination is as prevalent today as it was in 1989. Let's just go into that a little bit. A new study by researchers at Northwestern University, Harvard, and the Institute for Social Research in Norway looked at every available field experiment on hiring discrimination from 1989 through 2015. The researchers found that anti-black racism in hiring is unchanged since 1989, while anti-Latino racism may have decreased modestly. Ain't that something? We've been here 400 years and still can't get a job. Were the slaves who built the country with free labor. You was a slave, you was working, and now you can't get a job. Now you can't get a job. Now you can't work. They conclude that on average, white applicants receive 36% more callbacks than equally qualified African Americans, while white applicants receive on average 24% more callbacks than Latinos. And it's not just hiring. You have to understand it's not just that. It's everything. Race is everything. And so you can't just run around here and piecemeal stuff together. That's not how any of this works. You can't try to be like, well, we gave you education. We gave you $50,000 off. We did that much for you. Aren't you happy? Are you not pleased? Are you not satisfied? Why are you not satisfied? What is wrong with you? That's a lot of money we gave you. Now you're just still crying and you're begging. And some of us say, well, yeah, that's right. That's right. We sure should have. We should have taken our potato wedges and did something with them and rubbed them together and made a fire. And you don't understand that doesn't fix race in America. Black Harvard graduates have the same shot at callback as a white state college grad. That's race. Because can I tell you something? Race negates class. Because what does that mean? Race negates class. That means because you're black, and when I say black, I mean ADOS. That means because you're black, you don't get to be upwardly mobile. That's what it's meant in this country. That's why we're flat. So we've never had class. And you're going to try to fix us with a class-based policies, and we never had class. Class never existed for us, and class never existed for us because of race. You have to fix race. There is no fixing us that does not fix race in America, period. You cannot piecemeal. Stop it with this piecemeal politics, people, please. I'm not piecemealing around anymore. The only way you fix us is to fix race. You have to fix race in America. You have to find a way to normalize us, and you have to feed money into it. I don't care how much it costs, because this country is here because of it. Don't tell me how much it costs. I don't care. And stuff like affirmative action specifically for us doesn't cost you anything. It costs you no money. To have quotas costs you no money. 310, what's going on?
What up? This Tone Talks.
What's going on, Tone?
Shout out to everybody that's been doing support work. We pushing. I think that one of the things that happens that we got to be honest about with these class-based initiatives is they are sculpted for white folks. They are made for white people. And when I say that, I gave on the video I did earlier, I gave you the chart that Yvette pulled up last show of different levels of wealth. She built this program to make sure that white people can keep their home equity. That's what she built it for. She didn't build it for you. And that's why reparations and the black agenda is important, because that's for you. You have such specific, unique problems that you need a specific, unique repair that isn't charity. It's a debt repaid. This is charity. Come on. I'm saying to you, also, you must understand that in so many ways what has happened is that black folks forgot black folks. You got black folks in the top 3 to 5% of black folks that don't really think about what everybody else is going through and sign off. because it kind of sounds good. Elizabeth Warren's plan is a snapshot. And when I say that, let me say two things. You have race-neutral plans. This is race-neutral that can affect and help black people more, or you have race-neutral plans that can affect and help white people more. Now, I don't want a race-neutral plan anyway. I want a race-specific plan. But the last thing I want is a race-neutral plan like this. So let me explain what I mean. Baby bonds, as an example, is a race-neutral plan that affects and helps the poorest, and as a result, helps black people more than it would help white people, supposedly, if enacted properly. Whereas this plan, because it focuses generally on college for everybody, regardless of your wealth level, just based on income. Her plan is based on, you can have a grandma worth $1 million, but because you make less than $100,000, we're going to pay off your loan. It is, and also it's college-based, which means that it tiers up towards the upper echelon of the society. It helps white people a lot more. And I think for a lot of us, that's hard to see. It's hard to see that a little white girl that makes $42,000 by choice, though. Understand, she makes this by choice. She can be waiting for her grandma to die and leave her $1 million house, or let's just say a $650,000 house and another $400 in cash. But she would get this loan forgiveness. She would get this loan forgiveness. Now, me on the other hand, having more than $50,000 is like I would. Or a doctor, a black doctor that has $200,000 and makes $175 in the emergency room, killing himself working 100 hours. They don't ask how much you make per hour, right? You can make $42,000 working 3 days a week. That's all they care about. So a black doctor can be working almost 5 days a week to make 125 or 175 and basically not qualify even for the 50. None of this makes sense. These people are playing with you. And I'm not going to hold the line, but I'm saying to you, none of these class policies are even designed for you. And that's one of the problems. When it's not race-specific, it's not specifically for you. I'll leave it at that.
Appreciate it, Tom. If it's not race-specific, it's not specifically for you. If it's not race-specific, it's not specifically for you. And
when it's not race-specific, it's not specifically for you. When it's not race-specific, it's not specifically for you.
You cannot fix a race problem with raceless politics. Can I tell you something? Race negates class.